This is the Bionicle Inspiration series where we spotlight MOCs from across the Bionicle community, give you a bit of inspiration for your future builds. I'm your host, Ben Cossy. Welcome to the show. Obviously, we tend to pick a specific theme for each episode of the Bionicle Inspiration series, so if you're looking for advice on Toa, Makuta, whatever, we have an episode for that and you can have a look at it. But every 10th episode, we like to take some suggestions from you. And people can submit their MOCs through the submission email, which is on your screen right now. You can put whatever you want in that email, chuck it my way, and I'll add it to the list. And when I can, I'll put it in a future episode, whether it's a fan-submitted one or a normal one. You'll just have to wait and see. So we're going to take a look at some of those fan-submitted MOCs today on the Bionicle Inspiration series and just take a look at the plethora of different stuff that was submitted because there's some pretty cool stuff. Let's dive in. The first fan-submitted MOC we have today is by Jasper Brick, and this is Deep Sea Merman Warrior. I adore the base that this MOC is standing on. It's just really well crafted using a bunch of different kind of curved slopes and all sorts of different things, with mainly focusing on system pieces. There's some really beautiful rock work, these little sort of like dark bluish grey slope pieces, just sort of resting there, very much looks how it would in the real world, which is such a great way to tackle landscape if you want to build something similar to this. Just study the real world, look up real images of, underwater sand and, I don't know, whatever it is that you choose to build, and study that and then just try to replicate that with your pieces. Just the way those rocks are resting there looks so realistic, it's beautiful. And then there's this beautiful addition of this sort of like, I don't know, it kind of looks like a dark tan dish just sort of in the middle there. I don't know what that is, but that's just beautiful seeing everything sort of flowing around that. There's just some fantastic shaping going on there. And speaking of fantastic shaping, this beautiful like snake tail here, or I suppose merman-like tail, but we'll call it a snake tail, that's such a gorgeous design. The way all of that just flows one into the other there is beautiful. It's a great way of kind of using an awesome technique of part spamming, of just repeating the exact same thing multiple times there, and getting this beautiful organic flow there, like you would see on a real, snake or mermaid or whatever. That's, I think, absolutely beautiful. And I think it's just a clever idea too, build multiple segments like that, probably feed it through some sort of flex tube or something, and you can just get this beautiful seamless design. Yes, there's all the little lines in between it, but when you're curving it around and stuff, it becomes easier to ignore those and you get a beautiful design like this. So awesome. And definitely a good note to pay attention to your system pieces, because that's very, very system heavy, but works so well with Bionicle stuff. We can see some more construction-focused pieces here with a bunch of Hero Factory shells making up the sort of arms and the torso. Some brilliant shaping going on there. The way the torso flows into the arm like that, those pieces look like they were meant to fit next to each other there. That's just beautiful to see. This pop of spring green is also very, very nice. Just the way it sort of reflects off of these other colors here is just exquisite. So a lot going on this MOC that's working really, really well. Love your work. On to the next one now. This is a MOC by Mark9 Lives, or Mark9 Lives, probably 9 Lives, and this is Tony Hunter. It also says on the email by Merrick18, and Ben only just realized that. So, a man with many names. So, Tony Hunter. I think what's so cool about this MOC is it's very heavily inspired, not even heavily inspired, it is Core Hunter, the fantastic Hero Factory set, which I feel like 9 times out of 10 when you ask someone what's your favorite Hero Factory set, it's normally Core Hunter. And what's cool is if you look up some of the backstory on Core Hunter, he originally was a Hero Factory hero who went rogue. He became a bad guy, and he became Core Hunter. So it's awesome to see an interpretation of exactly that, because unless there's some image of it from some comic or animated short that I'm not aware of, but I feel like I would have seen it by now if I was, we've never had any sort of canon depiction of what that looks like. So it's lovely to see someone take a stab at it and say, hey, this is what I think the character would look like as a hero. That's awesome. I think across Bionicle and across Hero Factory as well, that happens a lot, where there's canon story of characters, but there's no actual physical like representation of what they look like. And so I think that's such a great impetus. Why not go on to Hero Factory wikis or Bionicle wikis or whatever and read up on some backstory on some characters, because you'll eventually get to certain characters that exist but don't have those physical depictions. So could give you a bit of impetus for a future MOC if you're sitting there and you're like, yeah, I want to build something but I don't know what. Maybe that's something you could look into. So there's a fun little take on Core Hunter here. There's a lot of fun little notes that sort of seem very fitting for what Core Hunter becomes. Certainly his love of weapons here by the looks of it. I mean, he's got a shoulder-mounted War Machine-style turret up there, which seems quite fitting, and he's got his big old gun here, which, once again, if you become Core Hunter, and you certainly seem like more of a sort of bloodthirsty kind of character, could make sense that you have guns, or you just, I don't know, have some guns. I don't know. Maybe I'm reading slightly too much into that, but, it certainly seems fitting in that sense. And regardless, a shoulder-mounted turret is a great addition for a Hero Factory hero. I like that he's increased a bit more of the red. Kind of seems fitting that, when he becomes Core Hunter, there's a lot more black that's introduced, and you kind of get rid of some of that red. There's still a bit there, of course, because, if we're looking into, like, color theory and stuff like that, you can say that black is a color of shadow, evil, all that sort of stuff. And, red could be a little bit more sort of like friendly. But at the same time, red can be the color of blood. And, I don't know, black can be the color of luxury as well, I suppose you could say. So there's multiple meanings here, but it's I do like that choice there to increase the red a bit more. And just seems like a fitting sort of contrast to the original, which, it would make sense when he's the hero that there would be a good amount of differences. And, of course, all the spikes are stripped back because your spikes are evil, of course, it just makes sense. So, yeah, little subtle details, I think, go a long way here. And this is, I think, just a great depiction of what Core Hunter could have looked like. And also, I did read the wiki just before this. I don't think there was any sort of specific name behind Core Hunter. So I like the idea of calling him Tony Hunter, especially Tony. It's just such a, like, pedestrian name. So, hey, Tony, come on down to the villain factory and let's kick some heroes' butts. And then Tony's there like, I'm going to kill you all one day. Well, that's good. It's good. Anyway, fantastic, Mark. Let's move over to the next one. This is by Bionicles, and this is Karzahni. So, of course, Karzahni is a character that very similar to what I was talking about before, except he did have some depictions of him in canon. Is a character with a rich canon history. Feel free to look it up on Biosector or Bionicle wikis or BZ Power stuff, all that. There's heaps of it out there, and he's a very cool character. Of course, we did have a depiction of Karzahni from a set, which you're seeing now. But that Karzahni, if I'm not mistaken, was a different look for him, and he was sort of mutated by the pit and the sort of underwaterness of that area sort of thing. So it's not exactly how he looked, whereas that sort of artistic depiction from some Bionicle comics is the sort of canon look of the character. So there's been a few people who have reinterpreted Karzahni based off of that image, and this is a fantastic depiction of exactly that. It's nice to see that he's changed up some of the colors here, because kind of looking at that original version of the character, it looks like that's maybe like a sand blue. It could probably pass as any color of blue, but other people have probably built it in blue. Why not build it in silver? And silver gives you a bit more to play with as well. So I like that we've changed up the color here. I think it works quite well, actually. We also have a custom mask here, which it says on Instagram was, he says, special thanks to DV MOCs for the amazing edit, and for Peter Shaker for printing the Almighty Odyssey, which I believe is the name of the mask. It also says the lower arm technique was by Brazy Bonkles. So, hey, go to the links in the description right now, head over to Instagram, and check out all those builders, because they're all a part of this mock too. So, that's cool. It makes sense. You want to be as accurate as possible with that mask there, and it is pretty accurate. It makes sense that you'd want to probably, I assume, 3D print a version of this mask here, and it works really well. Some other stuff on this that I like. It's just cool to see this compared to the original art and see how he's interpreted how the art looks and put it into these specific pieces. Like the torso specifically, some of those like kind of waist pieces in silver and green there, they fit pretty nicely for what's depicted in the art. Yeah, sure, you know, I think there's certain parts of that art that would be pretty difficult to create as a sort of one-to-one replica using actual Lego pieces. But I love seeing it. You know, to me, it's like the Grand Inquisitor in the Kenobi show. He looks very different to how he does in Rebels, but you know, Rebels has its own specific art style, and so when something's translated into live action, it's a little different. It kind of makes sense here. That drawn art style is going to be pretty different to how you would see it using actual Lego pieces. So, you know, that's just how it translates in a different medium. I think that's cool, so I like that a lot. Something else I like is the choice for these shoulders here, using these Midgard serpent heads from an old Lego Vikings set. Please bring back Vikings, Lego. I'm sure you listen to this. I don't know if you do or not, but if you do, please Hear my pleas. I'm not the only one who wants that theme back. It was such a cool theme. Regardless, using those headpieces here works very nicely as sort of shoulder pads there. Absolutely beautiful. So, fantastic. That's it for this mock. On to the next one. This is by Thunder Bricks, and this is Thunder. So, a really nice little hero mock here. I like seeing the trans blue torso piece being used here. It just sort of fits in nicely enough with the color scheme. And with the color scheme, I love it. Gold and blue like that. Beautiful color combination. I think it works really, really nicely. I love this kind of shoulder design, just adding in those Exoforce Robot bad guy arm pieces there. It just kind of covers up the shoulders nicely, and it's just a nice little addition. I don't know, it just works really cool. Works really cool. That's English. It looks nice. It looks cool. It's a good design. It's a great many things. But yeah, an awesome little Hero Factory mock here. Looks beautiful. On to the last mock. This is by AJ Red 17, and this is Arbitrator. I adore this. I think this is so unique. There's something so godlike and sort of like some sort of, I don't know, otherworldly presence or just something creepy. It's awesome. The thing that immediately grabbed me was this awesome sort of base for this to be standing on. Just this series of sort of interdispersed black system plate pieces. There's something about it that almost looks sort of like space-like or some sort of other dimension or some sort of jagged rocks or something. It's kind of obscure and a little bit absurd, but absurd in all the right ways, of course. That you can't quite tell what it is, but I like that because this mock has such an alien, otherworldly, godlike look to it. That sort of choice there with the base, I think, is just such a beautiful finishing touch to this mock. And it's a relatively simple base. You just need a bunch of those plate pieces and you more or less have the thing done. So it's pretty cool. The head design's also really nice, using this trans purple shield piece that came on some Gungan Warriors. It's more of an updated version of that shield piece. You can get some other versions of it in other sets and stuff. But that beautiful pop of trans purple looks lovely, and also focusing on that printing on that piece creates a really unique eye design. It's gorgeous. Some other stuff that's gorgeous is this butt crown thing, ornament. I don't know what you'd call it. It's this really nice sort of almost biblical halo or something, and it just sort of beautifully frames the mock and just gives it this celestial, otherworldly, godlike just appearance and presence to it. It's a lovely little addition. And all those lines kind of really direct your attention down towards the head and stuff like that. It's cool. I love too the body shape here. The fact that the legs curve in completely non-human-like ways and sort of, kind of fold back on themselves almost. And the arms, there's multiple pairs of arms, and they're again also bending in weird ways, and this body's all hunched down and stuff. It just doesn't obey the way that arms and legs should work, which again gives it that godlike presence. It's so cool. So gorgeous. Also, the inclusion of all these boat studs on the torso and pretty much everywhere else does give it this just really unique, bumpy, creepy looking texture. That's just such a cool mock. There's just such a unique vibe to it. It's awesome. So really, really love your work here. You've made a fantastic mock, AJ. Love your work. That's it for a bunch of cool fan-submitted mocks today. If you want to submit your own, you saw that submission email at the start of the episode. You can always check that out. There's also links in the description to all the mocks you saw today, so please check out those builders, see what else they've built. There's also links to my own social media, which you can check out as well. And also in the description below is my Patreon, so if you're interested in getting some bonus Ben Cossy content, that's the way to do so. I also have a PO box if you're interested in sending anything my way. That's on the screen right now. Thank you very much for watching. Love you all. Happy building, and bye for now.